Hello friends, this is Cara-Renee with B.Reborn Art and Healing. Today I'm making two tags and I'll be using the new Dina Wakley Acrylic Sprays for the first time. So I'm pretty excited about that. I pulled out the olive, the cheddar to start off with, but I did end up using the marine and the fuchsia also. I'll be using a couple of different mediums to adhere my papers and my ephemera there because some of it is thicker. And these are some of the other supplies that I'll be using. Some background papers just to create some collage elements behind or under the spray. So as you'll see that as I move along. I am protecting my work surface. I have heard that these are very messy and that they don't come off because they are acrylic paint basically in a spray bottle for mixed media. So here I'm going to just start collaging all of my background papers. I'm not doing anything big here, just little scraps here and there until I feel satisfied with what I have laid down. And these are some of the old book pages, vintage book pages and music pages from my stash, just in case you're wondering. And then a little bit, some scraps of old rice paper that I had just in my bucket. It's a great way to use scraps. Most of it gets hidden in the background. Predominantly the music pages and the book pages are what shows through in this particular project. But it was super fun to work smaller. I believe that these measure 2.5 by 3.5 inches. And so they're just a great size for some easy play. Didn't take me very long, less than an hour to do the entire process. So it was super fun. They're very different to work with, these acrylic sprays, but I think they're going to be super fun once I have a chance to really play. And there's just a close-up of that collage background, and then I am drying thoroughly before I move on to the next step, as always. I did lay a couple of book or music pages down because I thought I could catch the overspray with it that way, and then use those papers on a project at a later date. I am putting on gloves because, again, I've never used this before, and I don't want my hands to just get completely disgusting. So I am, because I've never used the product, so I don't know how it's going to really respond. I've watched a couple YouTube videos, but that's pretty much it. So this is the olive. And then I come in right after that with the cheddar, which is a really, really vibrant yellow, really beautiful. The scrapbook.com is where I got these, and they didn't have all the colors. They're out of stock of, I believe 6 of the colors are out of stock. So I hope to be able to pick those up at a later time. But here I'm going to go ahead and apply the cheddar, just a beautiful color. I wanted it to be kind of earthy, which is why I wasn't planning on using any other colors, but I did end up doing that. And then I thought, well, I've got that stencil out. I may as well just make some messy on my my book page or my music pages there, and just see how that works. So, and here's me coming in with the fuchsia. The fuchsia was a little bit bright for the elements that I chose. They were a little bit more muted, but I just blotted off a little bit, and it worked out just fine. It left just a hint of that color in the background. It is critical that you wipe off the nozzle with a baby wipe or paper towel after you use the sprays, otherwise they will clog, and that would be a shame. They're a beautiful product, brand new on the market, I think just in the last couple of months. So, and here is the marine. I decided to go ahead and bring that in. I wasn't really sure what it was going to do, but again, I was just really trying to play, and playing on a little bit smaller scale was super cool. So, and as you can tell, the acrylics just lay one color on top of the other, and that is because they are acrylic, they're not really, in this case, because my surface was only had matte medium on it from applying my collage papers. it behaved okay. I imagine I would get different results on a gessoed surface. I haven't tried that yet, but there's just what they look like close up. And when I lifted them up, they're just like plastic, hard plastic now, which is really quite awesome for tags or for bookmarks and things like that, because it's a little more structurally sound just by the mediums that you're using. So, and I did bring in this little honeycomb kind of stamp, or geometric, I don't know what it is. Kind of looked like honeycombs to me, but just a nice element to put on the background. And I'm stamping that with my Ranger black archival ink, just here and there on the page. And then I did decide I wanted to do some stenciling with my archival ink, again in black, and my makeup sponge. And this same stencil that I used to spray through, I went ahead and used to do the stenciling as well. I thought they turned out really good. I love what I did with the cardboard is I cut it to size, and then I ripped back the first layer in places, and that's what you're seeing there is just the exposed corrugated cardboard, which is actually one of my favorite techniques to use, and worked really, really well on this project. So I wanted to be able to grungy this ephemera up a little bit, so I went ahead and used some clear gesso. That did end up kind of having an unexpected effect in the end. As you'll see in the close-up photos, it does show kind of some brush strokes on the elements, but I was able to do a raw umber glaze on top of them and darken them up a little bit, which is what I was trying to do. And because they're kind of shiny right out of the box, they needed something to help the glaze to stick to it. So the glaze worked just fine once I had used the clear gesso. And the clear gesso will not, it won't affect the color of the image. So that was why I chose the clear gesso. And I do dry that really well just to make sure that it's good. And then I turned my camera off to dry, and I didn't turn it back on. But as all you missed here was me gluing those elements onto the tags. And you can kind of see the placement of what I did there as I show these here slowly. I completely forgot to turn the camera back on. I'm glad that it was during that it was that clip though that I missed, because it wasn't super important. And so I did cut another piece of paper, and I applied a layer of gel medium and then dried it so that I would have a surface to go ahead and do my stenciling on, as well as I wanted to be able to do a glaze on top of those words before I put them on the tags. And so that's what I'm doing there. And when I wiped this back, I didn't wipe it back. I just kind of pounced my baby wipe on top of it just to kind of give it that mottled look. And then I dried it really quick, and then I cut them down to size so that they would fit on the tags. I cut this one in half. It says "Come Alive." And then the other one says "Joy," because I love that girl on the one tag. The Tim Holtz vintage people kind of are creepy, in my opinion, but I liked her, and so I went ahead and used her. I've used other ones, but I have to be in a particular mood to enjoy that. So. And here I'm just going in with my permanent marker and connecting those lines of the stencil so it doesn't look quite so much like a stencil. And this is a stencil from Sean Petit. I actually just got it in the mail. I was so excited to get it today, which is part of why I sat down and did this, just kind of in a hurry. Didn't take me too long. So I'm giving an edging to those bits with my black archival ink. And then I'll be adhering those onto my tags with my heavy gel. And it was the heavy gel that I did put the other elements on. The little flowers and the butterflies were put on using Liquitex heavy gel. And that's mostly because the surface underneath is super porous, as well as the elements were thicker than what I would normally work with. The normal collage papers, I just use matte medium. And so the first one there says "Come Alive." And I do use a paper towel just to kind of push that down so that my sticky fingers aren't pulling up that those words as I'm trying to get them to set on the surface. So, and here I'm doing the joy. The joy was a little bit bigger than I would have wanted it, but it worked out okay. Again, this was just primarily to play. I wanted to see what these acrylic sprays would do, if I would like them or not, or if they would be too messy for my liking, but they were perfect. And so I did come in and I just did some shading around the girl, just really subtle. And that's really the only thing I shaded in terms of images. I wanted this to be super simple because it's not supposed to be a masterpiece. It was just me playing and making these fun tags. So, but I did go around all the edges with my Soho soft black pastel and gave it a really dark edging because it did have that really kind of deep, dark, grungy feel in the end. So, which I really like, as you probably already know. A lot of my projects I grunge up a bit. So. I like the look. Sometimes I'm in the mood for something different though. So I hope that you enjoyed the video and that you'll check out the rest of the things on my channel. And again, I hope that you are all well, still in the midst of this pandemic and just trying to stay safe and healthy. Thanks for coming along and watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.